Hello, I'm Riha. My teammates are Neha and Ahmed. We are here to discuss about Vietnam. A Southeast Asian nation boasts a rich history, captivating culture, and breathtaking landscapes. Its strategic location, coupled with ongoing economic reforms, is propelling the country towards a remarkable surge in wealth. This presentation delves into the factors driving Vietnam's growth, explores the potential challenges, and examines its future prospects, offering insight into this dynamic and promising nation. This presentation is based on the couple of articles that we have attached at the bibliography. Vietnam is projected to experience the most significant increase in wealth over the next decade with a forecasted 125% growth, making it the leader globally in terms of GDP per capita and number of millionaires. So the reason for the growth is Vietnam is establishing itself as a global manufacturing hub. It is a popular manufacturing base for the multinational tech, automotive, electronics, clothing, and textile firms. The country's strategic location, low labor cost, and the infrastructure support make it attractive for international investment. Vietnam's perceived safety compared to other nations contributes to its appeal. Ongoing US China trade tensions led many multinational companies to diversify the manufacturing to Vietnam as a part of China Plus One strategy. So, consistent and strong foreign direct investment from the multinational companies is there to support Vietnam. And it is perceived that the foreign investment will result in job creation and improved living standards for the Vietnamese population. And also, Vietnam's GDP growth has been impressive, doubling its GDP per capita from $2,190 to $4,100 in the last decade. The country's growth is fueled by export led industrialization, driven by multiple waves of foreign direct investment over the past 3 decades. However, considering the challenges and risks, Vietnam's labor force needs more training to meet the demand of the complex production activities, and maximizing the productivity spillovers from FDI requires a closer collaboration between the foreign and domestic companies. However, the potential challenges also includes a global recession affecting the consumer demand, currency devaluation, and the need for ongoing adaptation to maintain growth. Despite the potential challenges, experts believe Vietnam is well positioned to navigate and sustain its current growth trajectory. Vietnam's rich history and economic evolution. Vietnam's history spans over 4,000 years with early dynasties such as Chinese influence. Chinese rule shaped early Vietnam, followed by periods of independence and territorial expansion under Lai, Tran, and Le dynasties. French colonization in the 19th century led to the creation of French Indochina War. During the World War II, resistance movements emerged, leading to the First and Second Indochina Wars. The Vietnam War 1955 to 1975 resulted in reunification under the communist control. Post-war reforms such as Doi Moi opened Vietnam to foreign investment and facilitated economic growth. As a socialist republic with a single-party system, Vietnam is one of the Asia's fastest-growing economies, playing a significant role in regional affairs. Vietnamese culture is influenced by Confucianism, Buddhism, and traditional arts, and its economy has thrived particularly in manufacturing and exports. The transformation initiated by Doi Moi economic reforms in 1986 has propelled Vietnam from the depths of poverty to the status of a thriving middle-income economy in just one generation. Between 2002 and 2022, we witnessed an astonishing 3.6-fold increase in the GDP per capita, reaching almost 3,700 US dollars. Not only the economic prosperity soared, but the poverty rates have also seen a remarkable decline to mere 3.8% in 2020. The resilience of the Vietnam economy is noteworthy, standing strong against various crises. Looking ahead, economic growth is projected to reach 5.5% in 2024 and 6% in 2025. The agriculture sector, growing at a consistent 2.5 to 3.5% per year, has been a cornerstone of this success, contributing 13% to the GDP and employing 29% of the population in 2021, ensuring both economic growth and food security. Health outcomes has flourished with an infant mortality rates dropping from 32.6 per thousand live births in 1993 to a commendable 16.7 in 2020. Life expectancy has risen from 70.5 to 75.5 years between 1990 and 2020. Furthermore, Vietnam boasts a universal health coverage index at 73, suppressing the regional and global averages with 87% of the population covered by National Health Insurance Scheme. Education has been a priority with an average duration of schooling at an impressive 10.2 years. Vietnam's Human Capital Index at 0.69 out of maximum 1 stands at the highest among lower middle income economies. Infrastructure development has played a pivotal role in this success story. Access to the electricity surged to 99.4% of a population in 2019, a remarkable increase from just 14% in 1993. Clean water accessibility in rural areas has also improved significantly, rising from 17% in 1993 to 51% in 2020. Looking forward, Vietnam is boldly aiming to become a high-income country by 2045, and this aspiration is not just economic but also environmentally conscious. Commitments to reduce methane emission by 30% and halt deforestation by 2030 while achieving net zero carbon emission by 2050 showcase Vietnam's dedication to inclusive and sustainable growth. Vietnam's manufacturing sector is undeniably playing a crucial role in driving its wealth growth. Here's an analysis on the impact and implications. So, contribution to the wealth growth, job creation, manufacturing generates significant employment opportunities, boosting the household income and overall economic activity. Exports and foreign investment generated through exports, attracting foreign direct investment, acts as a catalyst for further growth and development. Improved living standards through increased job opportunities and economic activity. It raises living standards, leading to wealth creation through increased purchasing power and saving potential. Skill development and knowledge transfer. Collaboration with the foreign companies fosters technology transfer and skill development in the workforce, enhancing productivity and future earning potential. Coming to the impact on the GDP per capita, economic expansion. A flourishing manufacturing sector contributes to Vietnam's overall GDP growth, directly impacting GDP per capita, which is the measure of average wealth per person. Increased tax revenue. As the sector expands, tax revenue from the business and individual also increases, allowing the government to invest in the infrastructure, education, and social programs, further contributing to the wealth creation and poverty reduction. Vietnam, like any other nation, has experienced the consequences of globalization and economic change impacting its growth, employment, and overall well-being. Here's a closer look. Coming to the positive impacts, Vietnam's integration into the global economy through trade agreements and FTA has boosted its economic growth. This has been driven by increased exports and FDI, foreign direct investments. Another impact is the job creation sector. The expansion of the export-oriented industries created a significant employment opportunities, particularly in manufacturing and related sectors. The globalization has facilitated the transfer of technology and knowledge from the developed countries, allowing Vietnam to upgrade its manufacturing capabilities and diversify its economy. Coming to the negative impacts, there are job losses in certain sectors. Although new jobs were created, some sectors such as agriculture faced increased competition from imports, leading to job losses and income insecurity for some of the individuals. And coming to another reason was income inequality. The benefits of the globalization have not been evenly distributed. While those employed in export-oriented sectors and skilled individuals benefited significantly, others, particularly in rural areas with limited skills, might have struggled to adapt, potentially widening income inequality. And there are a couple of environmental concerns also. Rapid industrialization, fueled by the globalization, has raised the concern about the environmental degradation, including air and water pollution, resource depletion, and waste management challenges. Addressing these issues require a proactive policies and international cooperation.
As mentioned by Riha, the Doi Moi reforms of 1986 literally woke the country from a socialist slumber, allowing the Vietnamese economy to become one of the most profitable and accessible locations for international investment, which also led the economic growth of Vietnam to be one of South Asia's quickest rates at about 5 to 6% per year. Vietnam's economy in 2024 has noted significant developments in FDI and its growing status of the global manufacturing hub. The current media reports state that the country has witnessed a significant foreign direct investment of 2.36 billion US dollars in January 2024, and the first 2 months of 2024, Vietnam recorded 405 newly registered FDI projects with an investment of nearly 3.6 billion US dollars, giving it a really strong start to the year. The total registered investment capital in the first month of 2024 continues to surge up to 40.2% year on year and 8.1% points compared to the end of 2023. And this was reported by the Ministry of Planning and Investment of Vietnam. Over the past decade, the country has built a benchmark in manufacturing ranging from cars to electronics. The expansion of foreign assemblers like Foxconn Technology Group, Gore-Tex Incorporation, Luxshare Precision Industry Company, Samsung and Apple that also produce their products locally has really changed the way the world looks at Vietnam. Vietnam has slowly and surely become a preferred choice for FDI destination, and this is attributed to the various competitive advantages that the country is able to provide, such as its stable political system, high economic growth, availability of labor force, strategic position in its location in East Asia, and open FDI environment. So we're going to deep dive into each of these components to understand better in how they've helped foster a good investor environment. The first component is low labor costs. Vietnam has become an ideal for labor intensive industries such as textiles, electronics, and footwear because workers there are cheaper compared to other manufacturing powerhouses like China. However, on the long term, the viability should be looked into whether there are any problems in terms of labor rights, wage inflation, and skill shortages. Supporting infrastructure for exports. The Vietnamese government has actively supported exports, improve access to global markets by enhancing the country's infrastructure in terms of ports, highways, and industrial areas. Upgrading the logistics infrastructure and lowering the transportation costs while raising productivity has benefited Vietnam's position as an export-oriented country. The third component is the impact of US-China trade tensions and the China Plus One strategy. Many multinational corporations are adding a second production location in response to the accelerating US-China trade tensions. This has direct implications and has led to gravitational pull of FDI towards Vietnam, as it appeared as the new export-oriented location with neither excess tariffs nor geopolitical risk. The next component is the membership in trade agreements. Vietnam's access to global markets was also made possible through joining a series of free trade agreements that include the EVFTA or the European Union Vietnam Free Trade Agreement and the CPTPP, the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership. The membership in these various trade agreements brings Vietnam an array of economic benefits such as market access. Well, these trade agreements give Vietnam preferential access to important markets, lowering tariffs and trade obstacles for Vietnamese exports. The second is investment inflows, as businesses look to take advantage of Vietnam's export-oriented manufacturing base. and they are able to access international markets with improved and preferential access, along with the trade facilitation measures that are provided to Vietnam under these FTAs. The third one is integration into global value chains. FTAs facilitate the integration of Vietnam companies into production networks, enabling them to get access to economies of scale, technology transfer, and knowledge spillover. The last key component is stable political conditions. We believe that the government of Vietnam is a key factor behind its popularity since it promises several benefits to foreign investors and manufacturers. The first one is policy continuity. Vietnam's predictable and stable political climate guarantees political continuity, which ensures and gives a sense of trust for long term investors by giving them a peace of mind. The second is investment climate. Transparent rules, property rights protection, contract enforcement, along with other features that lower investment risks, are hallmarks of Vietnam's stable government. The third point is Vietnam's government support. The government actively promotes foreign investment through investment promotion agencies, tax incentives, simplified licensing processes, and regulatory reforms which are aimed directly at improving the overall business environment of Vietnam. There are always two sides to a coin. So, in spite of the previously mentioned advantages that the Vietnam business environment provides, foreign investors still continue to face several challenges in the country. Corruption, bureaucracy, and lack of development in some parts due to ineffective maintenance, along with electricity issues, remains the largest obstacle that holds back investors from coming to the country. In the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business report that was presented in 2020, Vietnam ranks 70 out of 190 countries, with an overall improvement in its score from 2019 by only 1.2%, which highlights that the government is not doing much, or maybe the things that the government is doing is not creating as much as an impact in solving the issues that the investors are facing. So, the World Bank report actually rates countries on 10 different parameters, and Vietnam ranks 115 in starting a business, 109 in paying taxes, and 104 in trading across borders. However, the same report also notes that the country is currently trying to make an impact by upgrading the information technology infrastructure used by the General Department of Taxation in order to tackle the paying taxes parameter. Rapid FDI inflows can also come in with hazards like asset bubbles, environmental damage, social inequity, and reliance on outside funding. Moreover, during research conducted by McKinsey, it was highlighted that Vietnam comes with its own challenges, such as long-term energy security, shortage of skilled labor, and low labor productivity, which might affect the investing capacity. The following graph that are shown on the screen also highlight the same and depict how that although there has been considerable increase in FDI in Vietnam, the economic benefits that the country as well as the people experience have not risen in the same levels.
Based on our research and the inputs from my colleagues,
In conclusion, a number of elements such as Vietnam's cost competitiveness, trade agreements involvement, stable government, availability of labor, etc., support the story of Vietnam becoming the next major global manufacturing hub. Although this report emphasizes Vietnam's potential for economic growth and integration into global value chains, in order to achieve sustainable and inclusive development, it is crucial to assess the accompanying problems critically and take into account alternative solutions. Vietnam should use the advantages and reduce risks by tackling concerns like sustainable development regulations, infrastructure development, and investment in human resources. We have discussed some recommendations in the previous slide, and we believe that some of these recommendations can help tackle some of these problems. With the advent of a breathtakingly fast moving economic setting, Vietnam has the chance to become a leader and a development success case in the global manufacturing sector. This is Neha. Thank you so much for your time.